Tonight I came with a mandate, not a suggestion. Write this down. For the next 30 days, we are running an experiment. No theory, only results. 30 days, a sheet, a verdict. We are going to test, track, and prove that obeying laws produces predictable outcomes, and we're going to do it in public. Rules restrict, laws release. Say that with me. Rules restrict, laws release. And in the next 30 days, we will prove it beyond your opinion, beyond your tradition, beyond your feelings. Open your mind and get your pen ready. Success is not a pursuit. Success is the byproduct of obedience to law. Write that down. Tweet that to somebody right now. Hashtag Myles Munroe. You don't have to like it for it to work. Law doesn't need your permission. Gravity works on atheists and bishops equally. You don't break laws, laws break you. Say it out loud. You don't break laws, laws break who? Exactly. They break the disobedient, the ignorant, the casual, and the religious who prefer rules over truth. Let me anchor this in Scripture so you know I didn't invent it. Joshua 1-8 says, "This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. You shall meditate in it day and night, so that you may be careful to do all that is written in it. Then you will make your way prosperous and have good success." Hear the predictability? Do, then prosper. Obey, then success. Reverse the verse, and you get the same principle. Neglect the law, and you frustrate prosperity. That's not luck, that's law. Jesus said in Matthew 5, "Do not think I came to abolish the law. Whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great." Greatness is attached to practice of law, not performance of religion. And in Matthew 15:3, he asks, "Why do you break the command of God for the sake of your tradition?" Rules are traditions. Laws are truths. Anyone who wants to be successful must break the rules for the sake of the law. Now, look at me. For 30 days, we choose law over comfort. Ushers, pass those sheets. If you're at home, print it, yes? Now, this is your 30-day law versus rules sheet. Hold it up. This is not decoration. This is your verdict form. Circle day 1. Sign your name. Date it. Start today. Not Monday, not the new year, not after you finish binge watching. Today. Because laws don't wait for your convenience, they respond to your obedience. Your signature is your covenant with predictability. When you sign, you are telling your emotions, "I am under law." When you circle day 1, you tell your excuses, "You are evicted." Write this down. What I schedule, I sanctify. And what I sanctify, I succeed at. Let me make it painfully simple. A fish succeeds by staying in water. That's a law. If a fish attends a 3-day motivational seminar about eagle flying and then jumps out of the water, it dies inspired. Inspiration without alignment to law is suicide. Some of you are inspired rule keepers and frustrated law breakers. The rule says, don't make waves. Wait your turn. We always did it this way. The law says, seed time and harvest shall not cease. Genesis 8:22. If you sow skill, you will reap competence. If you sow consistency, you will reap credibility. If you sow nothing, you will reap nothing, no matter how long you fast. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer, it comes by keeping laws. Pray to discover the law, obey to experience the result. So here's the hook and the help. For 30 days, we're going to leverage the most merciful thing God gave us, predictability. If you align with the law of focus for 30 minutes a day, you will predict productivity. If you align with the law of practice 1 hour a day, you will predict improvement. If you align with the law of honesty in your finances, you will predict clarity and provision. We are not gambling, we are governing. Say this with me. Success is a law outcome, not a luck event. Again, louder. Now tweet it. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Let your followers watch you move from superstition to strategy. Some of you have been trapped by rules. Rules said, don't charge what you're worth. Law says, a worker is worthy of his wages. Luke 10:7. Rules said, don't speak up in the meeting. Law says, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. Rules said, wait for permission. Law says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. Ecclesiastes 9:10. Over the next 30 days, you will respectfully challenge rules that sabotage law. Write this down. Successful people always break the rules for the sake of the law. What did I say? Say it back to me. Now lift that sheet again. At the bottom there's a line for your 30-day objective. One sentence. Not vague, not religious. In the next 30 days, I will obey specified laws in a specified area, and I will produce a specified result. We'll define the details as we go, but tonight you decide to be measurable. Circle day 1, sign your name, and right under it, write these words, verdict pending. Because in 30 days, we will read a verdict, yours, not mine, yours. And when the verdict reads, guilty of obedience, success will be the sentence you serve. Listen, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to emancipate you from confusion. Laws make life predictable. Ignorance makes life mysterious. The longest way to success is the shortcut. Stop asking God to suspend laws for your convenience. He loves you too much to make you lawless. He instead hands you a sheet, a pen, and a 30-day window and says, prove me now. Not with noise, but with notes. Not with feelings, but with findings. Say it one more time. You don't break laws. Laws break who? Good. Now let's begin. Now hear me carefully. Every day your life walks into two courts. One is the court of law, immutable, invisible, universal, non-negotiable. The other is the court of rules, local, cultural, traditional, adjustable. Which court you obey decides your results. Write that down. Treat it. Hashtag Myles Munroe. The court of law doesn't argue, it judges. The court of rules doesn't judge, it argues. Laws are enforced by consequences. Rules are enforced by committees. One gives harvest, the other gives handbooks. Which court has been running your life? Let me define it so crystal clear a child can grade you. A law is a constant principle built into creation and character true in every place, for every person, at any time. Gravity is a law. Sowing and reaping is a law. Honor is a law. Diligence is a law. A rule is an agreed instruction inside a context. Good when it serves the law, dangerous when it replaces it. Don't run in the hallway is a rule. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap is a law. Galatians 6-7. You can negotiate a rule, you cannot negotiate a law. Say this out loud. Rules are adjustable. Laws are inevitable. Again, louder, good. Analogy time, because laws live in pitchers. A fish needs water. That's a law. You can make a rule in your house. Fish may sit on the couch for 5 minutes. The fish doesn't care about your rule. It cares about water. If the fish obeys your couch rule, it dies. Success for a fish is not in keeping your furniture policy, it is in obeying the law of its environment. A seed needs soil. That's a law. You can print a rule. Seeds shall remain on the coffee table neat and organized. Neat seeds don't grow. Dirty seeds in dark soil explode with life. What did I say? Say it back to me. You don't break laws, laws break you. If you violate the law of environment, your gift suffocates politely under tidy rules. Let's anchor this in scripture so your soul stops arguing. The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. Psalm 19-7. Perfect means complete, lacking nothing, not in need of your edits. Jesus looked straight at the most religious rule keepers and asked, why do you break the command of God for the sake of your tradition? Matthew 15-3. And in another place he said, you nullify the word of God by your tradition. Mark 7:13. Traditions often protect comfort, not truth. Rules are often the last defense of laziness. Laws demand alignment. Rules demand compliance. Write this down. Align to law. Amend the rule. What did I say? Say it back to me. Again, slower. Align to law, amend the rule. If the rule doesn't serve the law, the rule must submit or be broken. Some of you confuse holiness with harmlessness. You think being nice to rules is being loyal to God. But watch Jesus. He healed on the Sabbath. The Sabbath was not a joke. It was holy. But the man-made add-ons to the Sabbath, those were rules. Jesus obeyed the higher law of love and life, which fulfilled the true intention of the Sabbath, while breaking the suffocating rules about when you could stretch a man's hand. Mark 3:1-5. Write this down. Successful people break the rules when those rules block obedience to the law. Do you hear me? Esther broke the palace protocol. She entered the king's court uninvited, not to be rebellious, but to obey the higher law of purpose and justice. Esther 4:16. Rosa Parks broke a bus rule to honor a law of human dignity written by God in Genesis when he said, "Let us make man in our image." Sometimes history moves forward because someone honored a law and challenged a rule. Let me bring it to our 3-0-day experiment. A young woman in our mentoring circle, we'll call her Alicia, worked at a firm that had a polite rule. Replied to client inquiries within 48 hours. It sounded professional. It looked reasonable, and it failed the law of service. She ran the test. For 30 days, she practiced the law of diligence and value respond within 2 hours, deliver one unexpected solution with each reply, and document outcomes. Guess what the court of law did? It rewarded her. Customer satisfaction up 28%, repeat business up 19%, and her manager changed the department rule to match the law she proved within 30 days. Honor laws, challenge rules, and the rules will amend themselves under pressure of proof. How do you separate laws from rules in your life? Write this down. 3 tests. Number 1, universality. If it's true for a banker, a baker, a bishop, and a barber in every country, in any season, it's a law. Number 2, predictability. If obedience consistently produces the same category of result, you found a law. Number 3, alignment with Scripture and nature. If the Bible affirms it and creation models it, it's a law. If it's culture-bound, calendar-bound, or ego-bound, it's probably a rule. Test your family sayings. We don't talk about money. That's not a law. That's a rule protecting shame. The law says, in all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Proverbs 14:23. Test your office etiquette. Don't outshine your supervisor. That's a rule protecting insecurity. The law says a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Proverbs 18:16. Which court do you obey? Please hear me as a father now. Some of you are being sentenced by rules to smallness while laws are inviting you to greatness. The court of rules says, wait your turn. The court of law says, he who is faithful in little will be ruler over much. Luke 16:10. The court of rules says, keep the peace. The court of law says, speak the truth in love. Ephesians 4:15. The court of rules says, don't charge your worth. The court of law says, the laborer is worthy of his wages. Luke 10:7. Your results don't lie. They announce which court you obey. So say it with me. Honor laws. Challenge rules. Again, louder. Now one more time. You don't break laws. Laws break who? Exactly. In these 30 days, question every inherited instruction that cannot name the law it serves. If a rule does not bow to a law, it will soon bow to your results. Write this down and circle it. Align to law, amend the rule. That is not rebellion. That is reverence for God's order, for your design, for predictable success. And when tradition complains, just smile and point to your sheep. The court of law has already issued its verdict. Now let me put a ruler in your hand so you can measure your life, not just admire sermons. Write this down. Success is predictable. Failure is predictable because laws make life measurable. The plans of the diligent lead surely to profit, but haste leads surely to poverty. Proverbs 21:5. Do you hear the word surely? That's predictability. The law makes outcomes. Surely. So here is the framework. If you can name the law behind the outcome, you can schedule the outcome. Say that back to me. Again, slow, so your soul can hear it. If you can name the law behind the outcome, you can schedule the outcome. Tweet it to somebody. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Reverse engineer every result you want. Start with the end. Then identify the law that produces that category of end. You want a fit body? That is not a miracle. That's the law of input and output. Stewardship of the temple. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. And the law of consistency. Map the law to a behavior. 45 minutes of practice, 5 days a week. Track calories, sleep 7 hours measured on the sheet. You want financial clarity? That's the law of accounting and faithfulness. He who is faithful in little is made ruler over much. Luke 16:10. Map it. Every day, reconcile expenses. Assign every dollar a job. Sow value before you ask for value, and honor the law of margin. You want favor with people? That's the law of honor and sow and give, and it shall be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Luke 6:38. Map it. Daily acts of honor to strategic relationships, documented. In other words, stop asking for fruit you refuse to plant. If you can name the law, you can design the behavior. If you can design the behavior, you can schedule the result. Write this next line in bold. The longest way to success is the shortcut. Anybody can sprint for 2 days. Laws reward those who return tomorrow. Compounding obedience is the real fast track. Wealth gained hastily dwindles, but he who gathers little by little makes it grow. Proverbs 13:11. God hid acceleration in tiny faithful acts. A seed does not explode immediately. It compounds quietly. LeBron didn't become LeBron by a weekend clinic. He obeyed the law of practice daily for years until the results were predictable. Stop admiring people's harvests and imitate their laws. What did I say? Say it back to me. Let me correct a religious habit before it sabotages your sheet. Stop praying for outcomes you violate with habits. Pray, then obey. Faith without works is dead. James 2:17. God is not mocked. Whatsoever man sows, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6:7. You can shout harvest over an empty field for 21 days. The law will stare at you and wait for seed. Pray to discover the law. Obey to experience the result. Some of you are asking for peace while nursing offense. The law says forgive and you shall be forgiven. Mark 11:25. Schedule forgiveness. Some are asking for opportunity while arriving late. The law says diligence begets rulership. Schedule punctuality. Heaven answers alignment. Now bring your sheet close. Daily obedience beats occasional intensity every time. Write that down. 10 minutes of law keeping every day will outrun 3 hours of hype once a month. Track it. What gets written gets done. What gets measured gets improved. Your sheet is the courtroom transcript evidence that you honored the law, or evidence that you preferred rules and feelings. Each day, one box. Did I practice the named behavior that serves the named law? Yes or no? No gray ink. The law is binary. Your outcome will be too. Here is your reverse engineering template. Use it for the next 30 days. Number 1, define one clear outcome with a number and a date. Increase my qualified leads by 30% in 30 days. Number 2, identify the governing law. That's the law of value exchange and contact frequency. Number 3, design a daily measurable behavior that serves that law. Reach 20 qualified prospects daily with a specific solution. Deliver one piece of free value each touch. Number 4, schedule the behavior time, place, duration, and protect it like a court appointment. Number 5, remove or break any rule that blocks your obedience. If the office rule is don't follow up more than once. But the law of service requires persistence. Honor the law respectfully, document outcomes, and let results rewrite the rule. Do this and watch the court of law pass a favorable verdict within 30 days. Say it one more time so it sticks. If I can name the law behind the outcome, I can schedule the outcome. Again, louder. Now put the pen to the page and name your law. Schedule the behavior. When you wake tomorrow, don't negotiate with your feelings. Report to your law. Because in the kingdom, predictability is mercy. Obey it daily. Track it faithfully. And your results will announce to the world which court you served. Before you ink another box on that sheet, we must aim the arrow. Write this down. Success is what you have done compared to what you were born to do, not compared to what others have done. What did I say? Say it back to me. Again, slow. God will not grade you on your neighbor's assignment. He will grade you on yours. Jeremiah 29:11 says, I know the plans I have for you. not random wishes plans. Ephesians 2:10 adds, we are his workmanship created in Christ Jesus for good works which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Pre-planned works. Prepared problems with your name on them. In other words, your purpose is the measure, not the crowd, not the trend, not the applause. So for the next 30 days, we are not chasing everything. We are solving one thing. Write this down. Identify the primary problem you are assigned to solve this month. Name it clearly. Not be better. That's a fog, not a target. Name the problem your gift is designed to attack. Reduce onboarding time for new clients by 40%. Publish one high-value article that answers the top question my audience asks and generates 200 qualified inquiries. Improve retention by restoring broken service promises for our top 10 accounts. Lose 6 pounds by mastering meal prep and daily walking to steward the temple. See? Problems, not poetry. Influence follows solved problems. Write that bold and tweet it. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Influence does not follow opinions. It follows outcomes. When David walked into the valley, he did not bring a title. He brought a solution to a national problem, Goliath. The reward chased the solution. Solve what intimidates others and promotion will look for you. Your gift reveals your lane. Your lane reveals your laws. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your gift is the GPS to your room. Stop driving in another neighborhood. If your gift is analysis, your lane will privilege the law of accuracy, documentation, and iteration. If your gift is sales, your lane runs on the law of value exchange, contact frequency, and follow through. If your gift is design, your lane bows to the law of aesthetics, prototypes, and user feedback. If your gift is teaching, your lane honors the law of clarity, repetition, and tested understanding. In other words, the lane chooses the curriculum of laws. This is why comparison is insanity. A fish envying an eagle flunks water. Stay in your water. The law of buoyancy will celebrate you there. Let me pass to you gently but firmly. Some of you are miserable not because you are incompetent, but because you are unassigned this month. You woke up running, but toward nothing. Write this down. Motion is not mission. Schedule your assignment, not just your activity. Take 60 seconds right now, yes, in this room, and answer 3 questions on your sheet. Who am I sent to serve this month? What pain do they feel that my gift can relieve in 30 days? What one measurable relief will prove the pain was addressed? If you cannot answer, you cannot aim, and unaimed obedience wastes energy. God didn't say walk in any works. He said walk in the works prepared beforehand. Let me illustrate with a story from our community. A brother named Marcus, quiet, sharp, gifted in process, kept losing visibility at work because he tried to be the charismatic idea guy in meetings. That was not his lane. We refocused him for 30 days on a purpose-defined problem. Reduce our project cycle time by 25% for one product line by eliminating 3 bottlenecks. That problem belonged to his gift. He named the governing laws, measurement, flow, and feedback. He designed daily obedience, 1-hour mapping processes, 1 call to unblock a stakeholder, 1 data point captured, and a 2-sentence report to leadership. 30 days later, cycle time dropped 27%. Customer satisfaction rose, and his influence expanded, not because he shouted louder, but because he solved clearer. Influence follows solved problems. What did I say? Say it back to me. Now, commit to one domain for 30 days, not 5, not a little bit of this and that. Nehemiah said, I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Nehemiah 6:3. Focus increases feedback. When you hold a magnifying glass steady, the sun lights a fire. When you wave it around, you just warm the air. Choose your domain and announce your not doing list. Write this down. Clarity requires no. For 30 days, say no to side quests that are not in service of the law. Set your lane demands. If your domain is client retention, you are not redesigning the website this month. If your domain is health stewardship, you are not inventing a new business this month. If your domain is product launch, you are not attending every networking breakfast just to be seen. Eliminate the rules of distraction. Politely reply later. Decline graciously. And keep your eyes on the problem you are solving. Tie your aim to Scripture as a plumb line. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. Ecclesiastes 9:10. Might is focused energy. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. That is governance. And here Jesus in Luke 4 announcing his job description. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted. He named his audience and their problems. Purpose speaks in specifics, so should you. Here is your action in one sentence you can write on your sheet tonight. For the next 30 days, I will deploy my gift of name it to solve one name problem for one name people, measured by one numeric outcome. That sentence is your North Star. Read it every morning, pray over it to stay submitted to God, then obey the laws your lane requires. When distractions come, repeat Nehemiah, I cannot come down. When opinions come, point to problems you are solving. When fear comes, remember, you don't break laws. Laws break you, so get under the law that governs your lane. Aim before you act. Purpose before performance. Problem before platform. Write it down. Aim the 30 days at a purpose-defined problem so results are relevant and measurable. If you can name the people, the pain, the proof, and the law that governs it, you can schedule the outcome. Now say it with me one more time so your spirit locks it in. Influence follows solved problems. Good. Tomorrow, report to your lane. The court is in session. Bring that sheet close like a covenant. Write this down. What gets written gets done. What gets measured gets improved. Say it out loud. Again, louder. Now tweet that to somebody. Hashtag Myles Munroe. God told Habakkuk, write the vision. Make it plain on tablets so he may run who reads it. Habakkuk 2:2. If it's not plain on paper, it will be vague in practice. Your sheet is not decoration. It's your daily court record evidence that you honored law and amended rules. Here's how we run it. 6 columns, simple, surgical, sacred. Column 1, date. That's not just a day. That's a court appointment. You don't miss court and expect a favorable verdict. When you write the date, you are time-stamping your obedience. Column 2, law to honor. Name only 1 law per day, not 5. Not be good. 1, stewardship, focus, health, honor, accounting, diligence, sowing and reaping. If you cannot name the law, you cannot obey it. Column 3, rule to break to keep the law. That's right. Identify the small, man-made, comfort-protecting instruction that's been blocking the law. Reply instantly to every ping. Clean your plate. Don't follow up more than once. Never talk about money. Check email first thing. Write the rule in first. Put it on notice. Column 4, action. Define a behavior that obeys the law and defies the rule. Time, place, duration, method, no fog. Column 5, result, numbers only, evidence, not how you felt, what you produced. Column 6, reflection, 2 minutes at day's end. Record proof, not poetry. Are we clear? Let me walk you through a live example from your lane. Law to honor, stewardship of assignment, rule to break, answer every ping immediately, always be available. That's a nice rule for people who are owned by their phone. It violates the law of focus. Action from 9:10:30 a.m. 190, minute deep work block on the core deliverable. Notifications off, autoresponder on, phone in another room, noise canceling headphones. One measurable outcome defined before you start draft client proposal outline with 3 options. Result. At 10:30, you write outline completed, 1,150 words, sent to teammate, 1 revision schedule. Reflection, law kept, yes. Rule broken, yes. Ping count ignored, 17. Felt FOMO, 7/10, subsided after 15 minutes. Productivity +1, deliverable. Note for tomorrow, pre-list top 3 tasks before 9 a.m. Do you see the difference? Feelings recorded only as signals. Proof recorded as verdict. Health example. Because your body is the equipment for your assignment. Law to honor. Health and stewardship of the temple. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. Rule to break. Clean your plate. Grandma's voice demands seconds. That rule is cultural. The law is biological. Action. Portion control. At lunch, use a 9-inch plate. Fill half with vegetables. Quarter with lean protein. Quarter with complex carbs. Eat slowly. Stop at satisfied, not stuffed. Not a brisk walk at sex. Treat your peep. 90 ounces of water across the day. Log calories. Result. Calories 1,850. Steps 8,200. Water 90 ounces. Weight negative 0.4 pounds since yesterday. Energy 8/10 by evening. Reflection. Law kept, yes. Rule broken, yes. Left 2 bites, survived the guilt. Craving at 9 p.m., drank water instead. Tomorrow, prep snacks at 3 p.m. Your feelings were loud at the table. The scale answered in the morning. You don't break laws. Laws break you, or they bless you, depending on alignment. Finance example. Because prosperity doesn't come by prayer, it comes by keeping laws. Law to honor, accounting and faithfulness. Luke 16:10. Rule to break. We don't talk about money at night. It stresses me. That's not a law. That's avoidance. Action. 7:37, 45 p.m. Reconcile every expense. Assign every dollar a job. Tithe first. Set aside 10% margin. Zero-based budget. Document 3 value-creating opportunities for tomorrow. Result. Tracked $124. Shifted $38 from eating out to debt. Margin now 11%. Identified 2 clients to follow up for unpaid invoices totaling $1,100. Reflection. Law kept, yes. Rule broken, yes. Anxiety 3/10. Disappeared after clarity. Tomorrow, send 2 invoices by 9:15 a.m. Write this down. Numbers are your friends. Proverbs 27:23 says, be diligent to know the state of your flocks. In other words, count. Those are not feelings. Those are facts. Facts fuel faithfulness. Relationship and influence example. Because favor obeys sowing, law to honor. Honor and value exchange. Luke 6:38. Rule to break. Don't fall out more than once, you'll look needy. That's a fear-based rule. Action. Identify 3 strategic relationships. Send 1 act of honor, each an insight, an introduction, or a helpful resource. Schedule 1 follow-up 2 days later with additional value. Track replies. Result. Send 3 value notes. 1 introduction accepted. 2 replies pending. Booked 1 call for Thursday. Reflection. Law kept, yes. Rule broken, yes. Confidence increase. Tomorrow, prepare questions for Thursday call. Now, say this with me like a declaration. I break small rules to keep great laws. Again louder so your tradition can hear it. One more time slow. I break small rules to keep great laws. Tweet that. Hashtag Myles Munroe. This is not rebellion. This is reverence. Jesus broke suffocating Sabbath add-ons to keep the higher law of life. Mark 3:1-5. Esther broke palace protocol to keep the higher law of justice. Esther 4:16. You will break the office ping culture to keep the law of focus. You will break the family, clean your plate chant to keep the law of health. You will break the timid don't follow up etiquette to keep the law of honor and service. A word about the reflection column, because this is where compounding happens. End each day with a 2-minute audit. Set a timer. Ask 3 questions and answer them with evidence. 1. Did I keep the named law? Yes or no? No paragraphs. 2. What numerical proof did the law produce today? Write it. 3. What adjustment will I make tomorrow to increase obedience or remove friction? That's it. Record proof, not feelings. Feelings are real, but not reliable. They oscillate with weather and leftovers. Laws are reliable. They answer to obedience. James says, be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves, James 1:22. The reflection column protects you from self-deception. It turns hearing into doing, and doing into data, and data into dominion. Practical tactics. because I want you to win these 30 days. Fill tomorrow's law in action tonight before you sleep. Pre-decide obedience. In the morning, report to your law, not your inbox. At noon, glance at the sheet. Midday, truth-telling. If you drifted, return. If a rule fights back, write why and plan how to break it respectfully tomorrow. Keep the sheet visible. Make it public to your accountability partner. Remember, we are producing public proof. Your sheet will be Exhibit A. And please, use ink. Pencils invite erasers. Laws invite decisions. Say it one more time. So your soul files it under non-negotiable. What gets written gets done. What gets measured gets improved. Again, louder. Now take that pen. Write tomorrow's date. Name one law. Expose one rule. Define one action. And prepare to collect one result. In 30 days, your stack of reflections will preach louder than your opinions. The court will not ask how you felt. It will read your evidence. Fill the columns, honor the law, break the rule, and let your results announce your obedience. Now we install the operating system. Write this down. The 10P laws are not tips. They are an orbit for your life. When you rotate them, your obedience stays balanced, consistent, and compounding. Say that back to me. Again, louder. Tweet it to somebody. Hashtag Myles Munroe. These P's are universal, immutable, and interlocking. You don't break laws. Laws break you or they build you depending on alignment. For the next 30 days, you will cycle them like clockwork. Pair each one with one small rule to break, and you will watch predictability appear like sunrise. Purpose is first because why governs what. Without why, activity is anxiety with shoes on. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Proverbs 19:21. On your purpose day, the law is assignment clarity. The rule to break is say yes to everything, be nice. That's a man-made rule of people-pleasing. Action. Write your one-sentence assignment for this month at the top of your sheet. Review your not doing list and decline one request that distracts from your assignment. Result. One protected block of time recovered. One step taken in your lane. Say it. Motion is not mission. Perception is second, because you cannot correct what you cannot see. Where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. Proverbs 29:18. On your perception day, the law is accurate seeing. The rule to break is scroll first, react to headlines. That's not a law, that's mental junk food. Action. Start with your dashboard. 3 numbers that define success for your assignment. Read them before you read anybody's opinion. Ask, what truth is the data telling me? Adjust one action based on sight, not hype. Result, one informed decision. One blind spot removed. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. Potential is third because God never consults your feelings to measure your capacity. We have this treasure in earthen vessels, 2 Corinthians 4:7. On your potential day, the law is utilization. The rule to break is wait until it's perfect before you release it. Perfection is a proud rule that murders progress. Action, ship, a prototype. Teach one insight publicly. Make one ask that exposes your gift to demand. Stir up the gift of God that is in you. 2 Timothy 1:6. Result, one offering in the marketplace, one feedback loop created. In other words, unused potential is disobedience. Passion is fourth because fuel matters. But listen carefully, passion is a servant, not a master. The zeal of your house has consumed me. Psalm 69:9. On your passion day, the law is energy stewardship. The rule to break is wait to feel motivated, then start. Feelings are weather, laws are climate. Action. Begin with a 10-minute warm-up regardless of mood. Playlist ready, shoes by the door, call the partner. Result. Momentum on command, not by mood. Write this down. Passion follows obedience, not the other way around. Principles are fifth because non-negotiables protect destiny. Jesus said, whoever hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Matthew 7:24. On your principles day, the law is integrity of standards. The rule to break is just this once. That's the anthem of erosion. Action. Name 3 non-negotiables that govern your domain time. Honesty, quality. Then face one temptation and choose the standard publicly. Result. Trust built. Erosion stopped. Say it. Excellence is a law, not an event. Planning is 6 because hope is not a strategy. Which of you, wanting to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost? Luke 14:28. On your planning day, the law is mapping. The rule to break is, we'll figure it out as we go. Translation, we'll pay for waste later. Action. Block the next 7 days. Assign tasks to time. Preload resources and identify one risk with a pre-decided response. Result, confusion reduced. Friction removed. The plans of the diligent lead surely to profit. Proverbs 21:5. Did you see surely? Predictability. People are 7 because your company is a prophecy. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Proverbs 13:20. On your people day, the law is strategic alliance. The rule to break is don't impose, avoid accountability. That is isolation, posing as humility. Action. Schedule 1 accountability call. Add 1 wise voice to your calendar and prune 1 draining contact politely. Result. Counsel increased. Drag reduced. Influence is when other people change their priorities for yours. Earn it by solving problems with and for the right people. Persistence is 8 because repetition breaks resistance. Ask and it will be given. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open. Matthew 7:7. On your persistence day, the law is repeated right action. The rule to break is stop after the first no, you look needy. That's pride in a tuxedo. Action. Set a follow-up cadence, 3 touches over 7 days, each touch adding value, not begging. Result, more doors open because knocking continued. A righteous man falls 7 times and rises again. Proverbs 24:16. Rise again is a law. Perseverance is 9th because stamina under pressure proves the law. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete. James 1:4. On your perseverance day, the law is endurance with joy. The rule to break is complain when it gets hard, back off to comfort. Action. When the squeeze comes, record the pressure in numbers, not narratives. Adjust process, not purpose. Deliver anyway. Result. Muscle built. Trust in yourself increased. Reputation shifted from potential to dependable. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not faint. Galatians 6-9. In other words, due seasons obey laws, not moods. Prayer is 10th because alignment is the master key. Men ought always to pray and not faint. Luke 18:1. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. James 1-5. On your prayer day, the law is communion for instructions. The rule to break is hit the ground running without consulting the king. Action, first 30 minutes, scripture, meditation, listening, journaling, directives for your assignment. Pray your P's by name. Submit your plan to his priorities. Seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. Matthew 6:33. Result, peace, clarity, and unexpected favor that logic alone could not produce. Write this down. Prosperity doesn't come by prayer. It comes by keeping laws. But prayer reveals the laws and fuels obedience. Now here's the rotation. Day 1, purpose, break people-pleasing. Day 2, perception, break news first. Day 3, potential, break perfection, paralysis. Day 4, passion, break motivation, dependency. Day 5, principles, break just this once. Day 6, planning, break winging it. Day 7, people break isolation. Day 8, persistence, break first, no surrender. Day 9, perseverance, break comfort, worship. Day 10, prayer, break godless hustle. Then repeat that orbit 3 times to complete 30 days. Each day, pair the P to 1 rule, define 1 action, record 1 result. By the 3rd orbit, compounding will be visible. Joshua 1:8 says, meditate day and night, observe to do, then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Reverse the verse, if you meditate and do it daily, success becomes predictable. What did I say? Say it back to me. Write this final line in bold on your sheet. Rotate laws, not moods. Pair each P with one rule to break. Measure one result. Again, louder. Now go schedule the next 10 days before you sleep. Because the court is open in the morning, and your orbit will testify which government you obeyed. Week 1 is the week of seeing. Write this down. Clarity precedes velocity. Say it out loud. Again, slow. If you can see it, you can schedule it. If you can't see it, you will excuse it. This first orbit is not about impressing anybody. It's about aligning with the laws and exposing the rules that have been babysitting your comfort. So for 7 days, we will choose law over convenience, evidence over opinion, and assignment over applause. Ready? Pens up. Day 1, purpose versus people-pleasing. Today you guard the why. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Proverbs 19:21. Nehemiah said, I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Nehemiah 6:3. Write this down. Say no once today to protect your assignment. That's your action. Draft your one-sentence assignment at the top of your sheet. When the ping demands a detour, reply with purpose. Not today. When the colleague pushes a quick favor, answer with Matthew 5:37. Let your yes be yes and your no. No, at day's end. Record the protected time, you recovered minutes, and what you produced in that block. Result might read, 90 minutes protected, completed. Outline section 1. Decline, 2 distractions. Galatians 1:10 asks, am I now trying to win the approval of men or of God? The law is assignment. The rule you break is say yes to be liked. Tweet that. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Day 2, principles versus convenience. Today you prove your foundations are rock, not sand. Jesus said, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them is like a wise man who built on rock. Matthew 7:24. Write this down. Keep one hard boundary all day. Choose it now. No work after 8 p.m. No personal social media before noon. No lying white or gray. No spending unbudgeted money. One lawful boundary. The rule you break is just this once. That is erosion in a tuxedo. Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. Daniel 1-8. Do the same. Ordered the day tonight with numbers. Boundary kept, yes. Tempted 3 times. Integrity wins 3. Energy by evening 8/10. Trust in self increase. Proverbs 25-28 warns, like a city broken down without walls is a man who lacks self-control. Build your wall back today, brick by decision. Day 3, planning versus busyness. Hope is not a strategy. Prayer without planning is presumption. Jesus said, which of you intending to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost? Luke 14:28. Write this down. Time block your top 2 outcomes. Not task outcomes. Name them in measurable terms and assign them to time on your calendar. Block, protect, and execute. The rule you break is wing it. Be flexible. That's not flexibility, that's drift. At noon, ask the sheet, am I on the block I set? If off, return. At night, record proof. Outcome 1, shipped yes 1,000, 250 words sent. Outcome 2, research 80% complete. Interruptions 4. Reschedule, block 1. Proverbs 21:5 declares, the plans of the diligent lead surely to profit. Did you see surely? Predictability is the child of planning. Day 4, perception versus gossip. Today, replace opinions with data. He who answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame to him. Proverbs 18:13. Jesus instructs, do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. John 7:24. Write this down. Begin the day by reading your dashboard, not the rumor mill. 3 numbers that define success for your assignment. Read them aloud. Decide one adjustment based on those numbers, then act. The rule you break is scroll first. Let headlines set your mood. Not today. Record what the numbers said and what you did. Example, leads 1, 7, target 20. Conversion 22%, target 25%, response time 4H, target 2H, adjustment, created template reply, scheduled 2 follow-ups. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. Light is data. Darkness is gossip. Day 5, potential versus comparison. Write this down. Deploy one underused skill today. Stir it, ship it, showcase it. Fan into flame the gift of God which is in you. 2 Timothy 1-6. The parable of the talents, Matthew 25, is not a story about fairness. It is a law about utilization. The servant buried potential because he compared and feared. Break the rule that says, wait until it's perfect, then go public. That rule is a grave for gifts. Action. Teach one micro lesson to your audience. Automate one process with your overlooked spreadsheet skill. Call one prospect and offer a pilot. At sunset, record proof. Launch 3-minute tutorial. 128 views. 2 inquiries. Created macro, save 45 minutes weekly. Galatians 6-4 says, let each one test his own work without comparing himself with his neighbor. Compare to your assignment, not their highlight reel. Day 6, passion versus boredom. Listen carefully. Feelings are weather, laws are climate. Write this down. Schedule a 2 5-minute energizing sprint and honor it no matter your mood. Choose the sprint that feeds your fire. Design a mock-up. Rehearse your talk. Make 10 calls. Refine a portfolio piece. Set a timer and go. The rule you break is wait to feel it. That rule has stolen years. Whatever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord. Colossians 3:23. Heart follows start. At the bell, record. 2 5-minute sprint completed. Output 1 drafted email sequence. Energy before 3/10, after 8/10. Passion often arrives midway, not at the beginning. Tweet this. Momentum is manufactured by motion. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Day 7, prayer versus anxiety. The 10th P sustains the other 9, and we touch it early because alignment is oxygen. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds. Philippians 4-6-7. Write this down. 15 minutes of law seeking, then act. Not an hour of worry with Christian music. Law seeking. Open the Word. Ask for wisdom. James 1-5. Listen. Write one instruction tied to your assignment. Then obey one step immediately. The rule you break is pray long, stall longer. Jesus said, seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. Matthew 6:33. Seek, then step. Record. Instruction received. Call Sarah to clarify deliverable. Obeyed at 9:20 a.m. Result meeting booked for Tuesday. Peace level 9/10 by noon. Joshua 1-8. Meditate and do. Then you will make your way prosperous. Reverse the verse and live it before lunch. Now, say this back to me. Clarity precedes velocity. Again, louder so your confusion can hear it. Week 1 is about choosing the court law or rules. Each day you will write the law, name the rule to break, define the action, and collect the proof. Start hearing your feet on the rock. This week, your no will build a wall. Your boundary will pour a foundation. Your blocks will aim the bulldozer. Your data will adjust the wheel. Your gift will exit hiding. Your sprint will light the engine. And your prayer will set the compass. You don't break laws. Laws break you, or they build you depending on alignment. Fill the sheet, keep the laws, break the rules, and watch how fast you move once you can see. Week 2 is the week of the squeeze. Write this down. Law is proven in pressure. Obedience under stress creates trustable results. Say it back to me. Again, like you mean it. Tweet that to somebody. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Anyone can obey a principle when the sky is blue and the inbox is quiet. Pressure is the referee that tells you whether you are keeping a law or flirting with a fad. James says, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Let endurance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete. James 1-2-4. In other words, pressure is not your enemy, it is your exam. You don't pass an exam by feelings, you pass by laws. Day 8, time law under fire. The rule to break, the open door, always available. Ping me anytime rule. That rule is killing destinies while calling itself team spirit. The law to honor. Deep work produces deep fruit. Write this down. Protect a 90-minute block every day, this week, same time, if possible. Door closed, notifications off, calendar marked, court in session. Put a physical sign if you must. Put your phone in exile, another room. Autoresponder on. Focus work block 9:10:30. We'll reply after. That's not rude. That's lawful. Daniel prayed at set times with windows open to heaven and closed to Babylon. Daniel 6-10. Set your window. Action. Choose one core deliverable. Define the finish line before you start and do not break the seal. At 10:30, record evidence. Block kept, yes. Pings ignored, 22. Draft completed, 1,480 words. Edit schedule. If someone complains, smile and say, I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Nehemiah 6. Results change the conversation. Day 9. Money law in the marketplace of pressure. Bills shout. Sales dip. Emotions shop. Write this down. Pay yourself first. Break the impulse buy rule. That rule says, I feel, therefore I swipe. That's not a law, that's a leak. Proverbs 21:20 warns us, precious treasure and oil are in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man devours all he has. In other words, consumption is easy. Stewardship is law. Action. The moment income lands, automatically move your first portions tied to God if that is your conviction. And at minimum, 10% to future you. Savings, and 10% to margin for growth. Before you eat, feed your future. Institute a 24-hour freeze on any non-essential purchase. No car checkout until tomorrow's you says yes with a sober mind. Record proof. Income $2,400, tithe $240, future you $240, margin $240, impulses frozen 3, total devoured $0. Tweet this. Discipline today is dignity tomorrow. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Day 10. Health law when deadlines scream. Many of you commit adultery on your assignment by cheating on your sleep. Oh dear, I guess I'm talking to myself. Write this down. Set a sleep window and build a moat around it. Break the late night scroll rule. Psalm 127:2 says, it is vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives his beloved sleep. Sleep is not laziness. It is a law of repair. Action. Choose a consistent window, 10 to 30 p.m. to 6 a.m. Phone out of bedroom by 9:30. Blue light off. Notebook by bed to dump thoughts. Tomorrow's top 3 written before you brush. The rule you break. Just one more scroll. Check the feed. Watch the reels. That feed is feeding on you. At morning audit. Record evidence. Sleep window kept, yes. Time in bed, 7:30 m. Wake quality, 8/10. Late scroll, 0. Morning output, proposal section. Shipped by 8:45. Your brain is your instrument. Tune it nightly. Day 11. Environment law under clutter attack. Write this down. Order is a productivity multiplier. Break the pilot later rule. 1 Corinthians 14:40 says, let all things be done decently and in order. Piles preach procrastination. Action. At the close of each workday, execute a 10-minute reset. Clear desk to 0. File or trash all paper. Close loops on sticky notes by entering them into a system. Lay out tomorrow's first task with tools ready. The rule you break is leave it. I'll get to it in the morning. No, you won't. Morning is for making, not cleaning. Record evidence. Reset done, yes. Surface clear, 100%. Time the first keystroke tomorrow, 2 minutes down from 15. In other words, you reduce friction, so obedience has a runway. Day 12, stack pressure, practice law. Today, you will get interruptions, emergencies, moods, and maybe a little drama. Good. We invited them for training. Write this down. Adjust process, not purpose. When pressure rises, foolish people rewrite the goal, wise people rework the route. Keep the 90-minute block sacred. If a fire breaks out at 9:10, reschedule the block by noon. Don't delete it. Keep the sleep window committed. If tonight requires a push, negotiate only 30 minutes, not 2 hours. Keep pay yourself first. Automatic pressure loves to borrow from your future. Don't lend to it. Keep the 10-minute reset, especially when you're tired. Tonight, record with numbers. Block rescheduled. Yes, 12, 130. Deliverable percentage, 100%. Sleep shifted, 30 minutes only. Savings, untouched. Desk reset completed. James 1:12 says, blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. Blessed means empowered to prosper. Steadfast is a law. Day 13. Produce a tangible output, not a testimony. Write this down. Proof beats opinion. Show me your faith without works. I will show you my faith by my works. James 2:18. Choose one thing this week that the public can see: a delivered client proposal, a published article, a shipped landing page, a recorded training, a first draft in your team's drive. No private victories only. Put your name on something that breathes. The rule to break: talk about what I'm going to do. Announce and delay. That is social media theater. Instead, act, then announce. At day's end, attach the link or photo to your sheet. Record. Artifact shipped, yes. Link, bit.ly, Project Kalpa. Recipients, 5. Feedback, 2 replies in 3 hours. Next iteration schedule. Celebrate the evidence, not the applause. Day 14, pressure review and replication protocol. Write this down. What I can repeat, I can scale. Today you will conduct a stress debrief. Ask 3 questions with the sheet open. 1. Which law held under pressure most easily? 2. Which rule screamed the loudest before it broke? 3. What will I codify so next week's pressure becomes predictable? Capture your protocols. Deep work protocol. Door sign plus autoresponder plus pre-written outcome. Money protocol, auto transfers at 9:05 a.m. Payday plus 2 4-hour freeze rule. Sleep protocol, phone dock in kitchen plus alarm on analog clock. Environment protocol, 1-0. Minute timer plus checklist at 5:20 p.m. Now share one artifact and one protocol with your accountability partner or small group public enough to be seen, close enough to be safe. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Replication requires witnesses. Now lift your head and say it like a graduate of week 2. Law is proven in pressure. Obedience under stress creates trustable results. Again, louder so your excuses can hear it. Expect friction this week and smile at it like an old friend. You are not auditioning trends. You are obeying truth. Protect the 90-minute court session. Pay yourself before you play yourself. Guard your sleep window like a covenant. Reset your environment so excellence has no obstacles. And produce one thing you can show by day 14. Because in 30 days, opinions will be irrelevant. Your artifacts will testify which court you obeyed. Week 3 is the week of stamina and support. Write this down. Surroundings and stamina are laws too. Structure your support to sustain obedience. Say that back to me. Again, louder. Successful people don't trust moods. They build systems. They don't wait for courage. They arrange company. They don't beg for motivation. They secure the environment. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. In other words, laws love witnesses. Choose an accountability partner today, not tomorrow. A name, a number, a schedule. Hebrews 10:24 says, let us consider how we may spur one another on to love and good works. Write this down. A spur is not a pat, it's a prod. Agree on a weekly review. Call 20 minutes, same time. Daily check-ins by text 2 numbers and 1 link. Deep work, yes, no. Sleep window, yes, no. Artifact link here. Share your sheet. Expose your metrics. Invite questions. The rule to break is don't impose, keep it private. Privacy is often pride in disguise. Invite a witness. Tweet that. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Now list your tradition, traps, those sneaky man-made rules that dress up as wisdom and choke your obedience. Write them by name and post them where you can't ignore them. Laptop, lock screen, fridge door, bathroom, mirror. Examples. Reply instantly or they'll be mad. Check email before scripture. Finish the plate. Don't waste. Explain every no or they'll think you're rude. Scroll to relax before bed. Just this once, no big deal. Jesus confronted tradition. Head on. Why do you transgress the commandment of God because of your tradition? Matthew 15:3. In other words, rules evolve, laws don't. Put those traps in a box labeled rules to break and stare them down daily. Design your friction ritual, the emergency brake for temptation. Write this down. When tempted, stand up physically. Movement breaks momentum. Breathe slowly. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. 3 times. Anxiety can't swim in slow breath. Restate the law out loud. I honor the law of focus. I break the rule of instant reply. I honor the law of rest. I break the rule of late scroll. I honor the law of stewardship. I break the rule of impulse buying. Then delay 90 seconds before acting. 1 Corinthians 10:13 promises, God will provide a way of escape. Your ritual is the exit door. Build it now. Rehearse it today. Deploy it when this once choir starts singing. Schedule a micro Sabbath this week. Write this down. Rest is a performance law, not a luxury. The Sabbath was made for man. Mark 2:27. There remains a rest for the people of God. Hebrews 4:9. Exhaustion is not a medal. It's a mismanagement report. Choose a block. 3 hours minimum. Once this week. No production. No metrics. No inbox. Walk, worship, read, wisdom, sleep. Play with your kids. Touch the ocean if you can, or the park if you can't. Protect it like your 90-minute court. The rule to break is I'll rest when the work is done. Work is never done. Law says you stop before it stops you. Tweet this. Rest is maintenance, not mercy. Track streaks like an athlete counts reps. What gets celebrated gets repeated. Start a visible chain for your core laws. Deep work, block, sleep window. Pay yourself first. 10-minute reset. Prayer first. Put boxes on your sheet and cross them with ink. Don't break the chain. If you miss, don't miss twice. Your minimum viable obedience on bad days is 1 rep, 5 minutes of focus, 1 paragraph shift, 1 lap walk, 1 verse meditated. A righteous man falls 7 times and rises again. Proverbs 24:16. In other words, streaks aren't about never falling. They're about reliable rising. Celebrate small wins daily. Hear me. Celebrate celebrity begins here. To celebrate means to make something seen. If you won a tiny battle, ring a bell. Send your partner a win note. Mark your wall with a star. Take your spouse for ice cream. Clap your own hands in the kitchen. David strengthened himself in the Lord. 1 Samuel 30:6. You can too. The rule to break is don't make a big deal. Wait for the big finish. That rule keeps you quiet when you need reinforcement. Every lawful obedience deserves a witness. Proof beats opinion. Proof also feeds perseverance. This is the people week, so upgrade your surroundings. Audit your company. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Proverbs 13:20. Add 1 wise voice to your calendar, a mentor call, a mastermind, a co-working session with a builder, not a complainer. Prune 1 draining contact, respectfully move them from daily access to monthly, from front row to balcony. The rule to break is I owe everyone equal availability. No. Jesus had the multitudes, the 70, the 12, the 3, and the 1 who leaned on his chest. Levels are lawful. Now persistence and perseverance take the wheel. Write this down. Persistence is repeated right action. Perseverance is joyful endurance under pressure. Set a follow cadence again this week. 3 meaningful touches over 7 days. When you hear no, you hear not yet. Keep knocking. The law still opens doors. Matthew 7:7. When fatigue whispers, deploy your friction ritual. Then execute your never zero rep. James 1:4 says, let perseverance finish its work, that you may be mature and complete. Let it finish. The longest way to success is the shortcut. The shortest way is steady law keeping. Before you sleep tonight, send your partner your numbers and your link. Post your tradition traps where your future can see them. Install your friction ritual like a fire extinguisher by the door. Block your micro Sabbath on the calendar and guard it with an advanced no. Start your streak chart and put ink on it today. Say this back to me. Surroundings and stamina are laws. Structure my support to sustain obedience. Again, like a graduate. Because in 30 days, your circle, Your streaks and your smile will announce which court you obeyed. Week 4 is the week of evidence. Write this down. Proof beats opinion. Your results will announce which court you obeyed. Say it back to me. Again, like you're swearing in. Jesus said, by their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:20. James said, I will show you my faith by my works. James 2:18. In other words, we are not closing with noise. We are closing with numbers, links, screenshots, and testimonies. This is not a parade. It is a verdict. Choose 1 3-hour sprint to deliver a visible result. Not 10 errands and a victory lap. One artifact that breathes. Write this down. Choose, schedule, seal, ship. Choose the deliverable, name it clearly. Landing page live with opt-in capturing at least 10 sign-ups. Client proposal drafted and sent. Prototype V1 clickable. Portfolio case study published. Debt payoff executed with receipt. Workspace reset to 0 with photos. Scheduled away. Sprint 3 uninterrupted hours this week. Same sacred rules as before. Door closed. Phone in exile. Autoresponder on. Outcome written on a sticky note in 12 words or less. Seal the boundaries. Tell the household. Tell the team. Tell your dog if you must. Ship by the bell. No polishing until it disappears. Finish is better than forever. The rule to break is nip and tuck until I feel ready. Feelings don't ship. Laws do. Before you start, capture the before. Write this down. Evidence on the front end makes the after undeniable. Take a screenshot of your current metric. Conversion rate 2. 1%. Response time 4 hours. Inbox 1,000. 204. Unread bench press 145 pounds. Weight 212. Revenue $0 this week. Average sleep 5H 10M. Desk like a yard sale. Photograph the desk. Download the analytics. Save the bank balance. Record a 5-second selfie note saying, here is where I am at 9 a.m. Why? Because Luke 7:22 says, go and tell John what you have seen and heard. The blind receive sight, the lame walk. Jesus sent proof reports, not vibes. After you ship, capture the after. Upload the new screenshot. Conversion 3.4%. 10 sign-ups in 24 hours. Proposal sent 11:28 a.m. With read receipt. Desk at 0. Sleep at 7H 20M. 2 pounds down. Revenue $600 collected. Ask for one testimonial. How did this help you? Get it by text, email, voice note, doesn't matter. Save it in a week 4 proof folder. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain. Write the evidence and make it public. Teach one person the law. You practice what you teach. You keep. Write this down. If you can't teach it in 20 minutes, you didn't learn it. Book a micro session with a colleague, a mentee, a family member, or your small group. Open with the law by name. Deep work is a law of fruitfulness. Stewardship is a law of increase. Order is a law of acceleration. Then confess the rule you broke. I retired the instant reply rule. I buried the late night scroll rule. I deleted the perfection before publish rule. Show your before and after. Then give them a 3-step starter they can do this week. End by asking for their date and time for their own 3-hour sprint. Proverbs 11:25 promises, he who refreshes others will be refreshed. 2 Timothy 2:2 says, entrust to faithful people who will be able to teach others also. Multiplication is the law. Secrecy is the rule to break. Refine your rule book. Document 3 rules you will retire permanently and write the laws that replace them. Write this down and sign it like a covenant. Rule. Reply instantly to be liked. Retired. Law. Purpose sets my response times. Deep work first. Replies at 10:45 and 3:30. Rule. Scroll to relax before bed. Retired. Law. Sleep window and scripture first. Last phone docs and kitchen. Rule. Announce first. Deliver later. Retired. Law. Ship first. Let the artifact speak. Jesus asked, why do you break the commandment of God for the sake of your tradition? Matthew 15:3. Traditions are rules that feel holy and make you unproductive. Bury them and read the eulogy out loud. Tweet that. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Prepare your 60-second story. Write this down. Law kept, rule broken, result gained, 60-second shot. Here's your blueprint. One problem in one line. I was drowning in pings and shipping nothing. 2, law kept. I honored the law of deep work, 90-minute blocks. 3, rule broken. I retired the instant reply rule. 4, action taken. I scheduled a 3-hour sprint and built a door sign and autoresponder. 5, before metric. Conversion 2.1%. Proposal delayed 3 weeks. 6, after metric. Proposal sent by 11. 28 a.m. conversion. 3.4% in 24 hours. 7, scripture anchor. Nehemiah 6:3. I am doing a great work and cannot come down. 8, invitation. I can show you the setup in 15 minutes. Want it? Practice it out loud until it sings. Record it on your phone. If you need 5 minutes, you don't have a story, you have a speech. Revelation 12:11 says, they overcame by the word of their testimony. Your testimony is a tool, not just a tearjerker. Now here's how we run the days. Day 22, choose and calendar the 3-hour sprint. Prep your space, name your outcome. Day 23, execute the sprint and shift the artifact by the bell. Day 24, publish the proof. Post the link. Send the deliverable. Move the counter from private to public. Day 25, collect and file at least 1 testimonial and your before-after screenshots. Day 26, teach 1 person the law, 20 minutes. Include your proof and a starter plan. Day 27, refine and sign your retired rules and their replacement laws. Share with your partner. Day 28, craft and memorize your 60-second story. Record a clean take. Day 29, stage your proof moment. Post a story with the artifact. Or present it live in your meeting, mastermind, or small group. Day 30, replicate book your next 3-hour sprint for the next cycle and invite your student to post their proof alongside yours. What you can repeat, you can scale. Lift your head and say it like a finisher. Proof beats opinion. My results will announce which court I obeyed. Again, so your tradition can hear it die. You don't break laws, laws break you, or they build you depending on obedience. In these last 9 days, choose 1 deliverable, capture the before, create the after, teach what you did, retire the rules that were choking you, and tell your 60-second story with receipts. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Let them see, not just hear. Because when the fruit hits the table, debates end, and the court of law stands vindicated in your life. Now, before we cross the finish line, let's deal with the thieves at the door, obstacles, excuses, and that shiny mirage called the shortcut. Write this down. You cannot cheat a law. You can only align with it or suffer it. Say it back to me. Again, louder, so your excuses can hear the eviction notice. Galatians 6-7 says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. In other words, life is legal. Harvest is not emotional. It is lawful. Excuse number 1, I'm waiting for motivation. Please write this down. Motion creates emotion. Say it again. Ecclesiastes 11:4 warns, he who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. If you wait for the perfect feeling, you'll live a perfectly empty life. The 4 lepers said, why sit we here until we die? And their steps stirred a miracle. 2 Kings 7-3-5. In other words, you don't feel your way into acting, you act your way into feeling. Correction. Install a 5-minute trigger. Stand up. Set a timer. Take the first step. Open a document. Type 10 ugly lines. Start the proposal. Write the subject line. Lace the shoes. Walk 1 lap. Tweet this. Feelings follow feet. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Excuse number 2. I prayed. Good. Keep praying. But hear the law. Prayer positions. Obedience produces. Joshua 1-8. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Reverse the verse. no meditation, no doing, no prosperity, no success. God told Moses at the Red Sea, why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward. Exodus 14:15. In other words, at some point, you stop praying about the door and you turn the handle. Correction. Pray first for wisdom, then practice the law you prayed about. Pray for focus, then close the door. Pray for provision, then honor the stewardship law. Pray for health, then keep the sleep law. Don't ask heaven to bless what you refuse to obey on earth. Let's talk gravity. If you jump off a 10-story building holding a Bible, singing a hymn, and quoting a creed, gravity will not suspend its meeting to accommodate your religion. You don't break gravity. Gravity breaks you. Jesus said, the rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew. The house fell because it did not have its foundation on the rock. Paraphrasing Matthew 7:27. Tradition feels like a soft mattress at the window. Leap from it and you land on consequence. The crash isn't a curse, it's a class in law. Correction. Stop arguing with gravity. Step back on the staircase. Do not negotiate with laws. Negotiate your schedule and habits. You don't tell gravity to wait. You change when you jump. If mornings are chaos, move the deep work block to midday. If kids wake early, wake earlier or trade for an evening block. If travel disrupts sleep, enforce a never too late nights in a row covenant. Adjust the calendar, not the command. Now the shortcut illusion, oh dear, I guess I'm talking to myself. The longest way to success is the shortcut. Say it. Again, let it burn the detour maps. Shortcuts promise speed and deliver delay with interest. Cramming replaces compounding. Borrowing from tomorrow to look good today ends in foreclosure on your future. Buying followers is not influence, it is invoice. Copying someone else's artifact without their obedience is like wearing Saul's armor. You look official and die quickly. 1 Samuel 17:39. Proverbs 14:23 says, in all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Correction. Honor the dull. Daily law. Small. Repeated right actions. Sharpen the axe and swing it every day. Ecclesiastes 10:10. Shift, measure, refine, repeat. When resistance rises, deploy your friction ritual. Stand up, breathe, name the law, take one rep. And when your mind says skip the sheet, just trust your heart. Answer it with scripture. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:20. Fruits are counted, not imagined. Courage here is not chest beating. It is course correcting. Be strong and very courageous to observe to do all the law. Joshua 1:7. That means you correct fast when you drift. You don't excuse, you adjust. You don't justify, you journal and fix the process. Lift your head and say it with me. I cannot cheat a law. I will align with it. Motion creates emotion. I move first. Prayer positions. Obedience produces. I pray and I do. I will not negotiate with laws. I will negotiate my schedule and my habits. The longest way to success is the shortcut I rejected. Again, like a graduate. Because in 30 days, the court won't ask how you felt. It will examine your evidence. Align with the law, and the law will announce you. Resist it, and consequence will tutor you. Choose the court you obey right now. Now we commission you. Pull out your sheet. Sit up straight. Lift your chin. Write this down. Graduates, read their receipts. Say it again. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Psalm 107:2. So here's your first act of graduation. Read your top 3 measurable gains out loud. Own your evidence. Don't mumble. Announce it to your future. Average sleep moved from 5 hours, 10 minutes to 7 hours, 18 minutes. Law of rest honored. 3 hours sprint. Shift a live landing page. 10 signups in 24 hours. Law of focus kept. Response time dropped from 4 hours to 1 scheduled block. Law of order enforced. You have your own numbers. Speak them now. James said, I will show you my faith by my works. James 2:18. In other words, faith that cannot be measured, cannot be managed. Fruit speaks. By their fruits, not their feelings, you will know them. Matthew 7:20. Now sign and date the sheet. Write this down. Integrity is when your signature marries your schedule. Put your name in ink. Put today's date. and circle the location like a covenant: kitchen table, office desk, airport gate, B12. I don't care where you finish. I care that you finished. Paul said, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4:7. That is a graduation statement. Ecclesiastes 5:5 warns, better not to vow than to vow and not pay. Today you are paying your vow in proof. This paper is your diploma. Your obedience is the seal. Take a photo of the sign sheet and file it in a folder labeled Law Evidence Cycle 1. Put a copy where you pray and where you work. The law belongs in both places. Next, we go public. Write this down. Evidence is evangelism. Tweet that. Hashtag Myles Munroe. Post your 60-second story today. Today, not someday. You already built it in week 4. Press record, smile with discipline, and say it sharply. Problem, law kept, rule broken, action, before, after, metric, scripture, anchor, invitation. End with the ask. I am running the next 30 laws over rules. Want to join me? Then invite 2 people by name, not the internet. 2 names in your phone right now. Andrew found Simon and brought him to Jesus. John 1:41-42. Send a message. I just finished a 30-day law experiment. I have receipts. I'm starting the next 30 on date. The rules I'm breaking, list 1. The laws I'm keeping, list 2. Will you do it with me? We'll do a 15-minute kickoff call. That's it. Don't sell. Show. Revelation 12:11 overcame by the word of their testimony. Your testimony is a tool. Set the next 30 before the sun sleeps. Write this down. Advance 1 level deeper in the same laws. Success is not a new circus. It's deeper obedience to old laws. Say that back to me again. We don't graduate from gravity. We master alignment. Choose the same purpose-defined problem. Then raise the standard 1 notch. If your deep work law was 1 90-minute block daily, level it. 1 block plus 1 weekly 3-hour sprint. If your rest law gave you a 7-hour window, level it. Same window plus a light out ritual and phone docked in the kitchen. If your stewardship law moved 10% to savings, level it. 10% plus auto transfer on payday and a weekly 20-minute money meeting. If your order law cleared your desk weekly, level it. Daily reset in 5 minutes before you exit. Proverbs 4:18 says, the path of the just is like the shining sun that shines ever brighter. In other words, same road, brighter lamp. Tweet that. Rotate the 10. P laws again. Deeper. Purpose. Refine your 1-sentence assignment until a 12-year-old can repeat it. Perception. Audit your environment and remove 1 more distraction per room. Potential. Schedule 30 minutes 3 times a week to train 1 gift with a coach or course. Passion. Protect the fuel, sleep, water, movement, non-negotiable. Principles. Codify 3 more operating rules. You will retire and the laws that replace them. Planning. Preload your calendar with all deep work blocks and micro Sabbaths for the month ink, not hope. People, add 1 mentor conversation. Prune 1 drainer to the balcony and recruit your 2 friends into a simple accountability text thread. Persistence. Set a never zero rule for your worst day. Perseverance. Practice joy under pressure. Write 1 gratitude line after every ugly rep. Prayer. Elevate to 20 minutes first and last bookends of law and light. Joshua 1-8. Meditate day and night that you may observe to do. Reverse the verse and you reverse the results. Before midnight tonight, 5 actions. Write this down. 1. Sign and date your sheet. Photograph and file it. 2. Post your 60-second story and send 2 invitations by name. Calendar your next 31st deep work block. First 3-hour sprint. First micro Sabbath. First money meeting. Lock them. Share your new rule retirements and replacement laws with your accountability partner. Create a fresh sheet labeled Cycle 2. Print it. Put it on the desk. Pen on top. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts will be established. Commitment first, clarity follows, not the other way around. Lift your right hand and say this with me. I graduate with evidence. I multiply by teaching. I schedule my next 30 today, again like a leader. You don't break laws. Laws break you, or they build you if you obey them. Do not merely listen to the word. Do what it says, James 1:22. Deuteronomy 30:19. I set before you life and death. Now choose life, choose law, choose alignment, choose another 30 days under the court of God's unchanging principles. I bless you now. May the favor of the Lord our God rest upon us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Psalm 90:17. May your next 30 be brighter than your last. May your proof silence opinions. May your laws promote you in places where rules once confined you. Be strong and very courageous to observe, to do all the law. Joshua 1:7. Act upon what you heard. Start today, not someday. Go graduate with integrity, share with boldness, and schedule with faith. I'll see your evidence in 30 days.